Hello, and today we're doing score predictions for the next match day of the Scottish Premiership. And we're going to do a little recap of previous predictions to start the video, and then we'll get into our predictions for the upcoming weekend. So, first off, we had Livingston versus Hamilton. Now, let me tell you, it has actually been rearranged since I last did that video. So it was due to be played all the way back in February, but now it's been rearranged for the match day 25 fixture. Livingston-Hamilton is now on the 13th of March. So what we will do is right now we're going to re-predict it and watch out for that day to see how many points I score. But we're going to change what we originally predicted. We're going to say Livingston 3, Hamilton 0. So that's 3 goals to 0 for the home side. And just ignore this upcoming prediction that I did before the game got rearranged.
Or is it? No, the Wednesday. Yeah, the Wednesday. So this is an interesting one. Obviously, it sees 5th take on 12th. Hamilton are in desperate need of a win because they're 3 points behind Ross County, so they really can't get cut off. Can Ross County? But I'm just going to sway towards the Livingston win. They are at home and they are doing well. 5th in the league is a very good position to be in. So I'm going to say Livingston 2, Hamilton 1. And then we've got Kilmarnock taking on Motherwell. Now, Kilmarnock are currently sitting in a pretty bad position of 10th. They're 4 points ahead of Hamilton. Whereas Motherwell, well, they're in 9th. So if Kilmarnock can get a win here, they go probably, depending on what... they can. So if Kilmarnock win this, they go above Motherwell into 9th. And if Motherwell win this, then they can close the gap on St Johnston. And I think they will close the gap on St Johnston. Motherwell, I'll say Kilmarnock 0, Motherwell 3.
Oh.
And then it's a game between St Mirren and Celtic. Now this is
Well, we at least got the correct result there. We said a 3-0 win. It was in fact 1-0 to Motherwell, with the moment of magic coming from Alan Campbell on 71 minutes. So, yeah, it's all right. 3 points there. Let's move on to the next one.
A one-sided game. I know you might say, well, St Mirren have been pretty good this season. They have been, to be fair. Won their most recent match and they are in the top 6. But I think Celtic are just class and they can, on their day, turn over anyone. I know that there's the massive gap and it's a bit of a joke at the minute how far Rangers are ahead. But at the end of the day, I think Rangers will lose eventually. Celtic will catch up eventually. And this is a game they're going to really, stamp home their advantage. So St Mirren 1, Celtic 4 is what I'm going to say. And then it's Aberdeen.
Oh, I'm getting so unlucky. We said 4 goals for Celtic, but instead we said a St Mirren goal. It was 4-0. So another 3 points for me there. Next game coming up.
Against St Mirren. And I know this is St Mirren playing again, but this is now game week 29, the weekend games. Now Aberdeen, they're currently on 27 games played, so they have a little bit of catch-up work to do. But if they can win their game in hand, that takes them within just 2 points of the team in third, Hibernian. And if they can win the game again, this game, I'm not sure if it's a rearranged one, but it's the one they're playing in game week 29, which is at home with St Mirren. And St Mirren are close to them as well. So in that respect, if St Mirren can get a win here against all the odds, it would be massive for them to go above Aberdeen, or at least close the gap on the top 4. So it's a really competitive one, I'd imagine here. But I'm going to favour Aberdeen on the day. Aberdeen 3, St Mirren 1. And then we've got Rangers.
Yeah, it was 0-0. Of course, when I called for 4 goals, there was no goals. So, yeah, once again, incorrect result there. We're on to 6 points from the first 4 games, and that's taking into account the first game didn't actually get played. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that got rescheduled, but it's unfortunate, yeah. So let's move on to the next one. It is the next matchup.
It's Kilmarnock. Fairly comfortable game, but I did say I think Rangers will drop points eventually. I know they've not lost all season, but we're going to go with Rangers 1, Kilmarnock 1.
Oh, I should have stuck to my guns. I should have said that, Rangers, they haven't lost all season for a reason and they'll keep that going. Because instead, it was Rangers 1, Kilmarnock 0. So, A little bit too optimistic for Kilmarnock there to get the point. Once again, no points. We stay on 6.
And then we've got a game between Ross County and Hibernian. And as I said, Hibernian in third, doing pretty good. They could even snatch Celtic in their second spot if they keep on winning games, and Celtic keep on showing a bit of inconsistency. They've got 2 wins in the spin, have Celtic, and actually Hibernian have got 3 wins on the spin. But I think, Hibernian are still a good team, and I'd imagine they'd be able to get past this Ross County team. So Ross County 0, Hibernian 1.
Believe it or not, this game was also called off. So yeah, we can't get any points there. We did go for the Hibernian defeat, I think, there. But the point is, we're going to re-predict that because it's being played just like that first game on the 13th of March. So instead, we're going to go for Ross County 0, Hibernian 2. That's what we're sticking with. So yeah, no points in that game number 6. So we're still on 6 points. Let's move on to game number 7. Here it is.
Then we have Dundee United taking on Livingston. This sees, of course, 2 teams face each other in very similar positions. Livingston above them, but still. And Dundee United are not to be underestimated. I've got a feeling the Livingston will do that very much just here. So I'm going to say Dundee United 2, Livingston 0. We next have...
Correct result, lads. Correct result again. So 3 points, but so close. 1 goal away from a correct score. It was in fact 3-0, not 2. But we're on to 9 points. Let's hear the next one.
Motherwell taking on Hamilton. Now, Motherwell really have to start getting some results. I think they should beat Kilmarnock fairly comfortably. And then once they've done that, that will put them on to a total of 28. So if they can win the next game that they have against Hamilton, it'll be massive, really. They should be beating teams like Hamilton. No disrespect to Hamilton, but they've really struggled this season. So if they can win that game again, then it does put them within the likes of Dundee United and St Johnston. So I'm going to say it's going to be a win for the home side here. Motherwell 2, Hamilton 1.
Couldn't have got this one much wronger, or much more wrong, I should say. Because it was actually a 4-1 win away from home to Hamilton. Amazing result. Red card in there for Stephen O'Donnell. A goal for Bruce Anderson early on. And 2 penalties. A tale of 2 penalties from Ross Callachan and Mark O'Hara. So, yeah, it was a crazy game, but not what I predicted. So, once again, no points. All right, next one.
We've got St Johnston taking on Celtic. Now, you might say, oh, well, this is an easy win for Celtic, but is it? Is it necessarily, I know they've absolutely destroyed teams like Kilmarnock 4-0 in the past, but I think the last time that Celtics played St Johnston, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was a bit more of a difficult one to call, and a bit more of a nervy one for Celtic. Let me just check what that score was, but when Celtic played St Johnston, I seem to remember, or maybe it was my prediction. It probably was, to be fair. Oh no, I was right. It was a 1-1 draw. So I think I said St Johnston to do that, or at least maybe not draw with them, but produce an upset. But it did happen, and Celtic didn't get the win, with ending up being an equaliser from Elianusi to save what would have been a loss after a goal from Christopher Kane. So yeah, Celtic are in a position right now they can't afford dropping points like that. So this is a massive game for Celtic, but I think that they will just about get through. St Johnston 1, Celtic 2.
Yes!
And finally, the last two games.
Get in. We finally get our correct score. We needed that. Massively needed that. So that's 8 points for us. Come on, people. Right, now we've got just 2 more games to go in this game week. And I'll talk about Celtic in a little bit.
We've got Celtic against Aberdeen. Big game at the top of the table. Obviously, I've just predicted Celtic's game, but this is another rearranged one. And I think Celtic are fairly comfortable at home. So even though Aberdeen are a decent side on their day, they can sometimes lose a bit embarrassingly. And I think that Celtic are going to rub in the salt in the wounds. Celtic 3, Aberdeen 0. And to wrap...
It was actually Celtic 1, Aberdeen 0. And the moment of magic to get the goal came from David Turnbull very early on there. So fairly comfortable for Celtic, but still not a massive win. And it's 3 points for us. We thought it would be more comprehensive. And finally, we've got one more game.
Today's video, we've got St Mirren against Hamilton. And on paper, it's a close game. In the table, it's not so much. St Mirren mid-table, Hamilton bottom. But I've just got a feeling Hamilton, in these kind of games, you wouldn't expect them to do much. But also, you know, you're not going to probably back them to win. I think that they might just do it. They might prove us wrong and get the 3 points. So St Mirren 0, Hamilton 1 is what I'm going to predict. And
oh, well, we ended it on a low there. It would have been 1-0, but actually to the other side, if Hamilton hadn't found an equaliser through Bruce Anderson, with Ilkay Durmas getting the goal for St Mirren. But it was a 1-1 draw, which means it's another incorrect result. So we end the week, pretty poor week, it's got to be said. You know, we really do want to have better weeks than this. But we do end the week on 20 points. You know, 4 correct results, 1 correct scoreline. It's got to be a lot better in the next round of predictions. It's as simple as that. We've done those 2 that were rearranged and didn't take part of that previous prediction. And there was, of course, the midweek result for St Mirren against Motherwell. 0-0 there. So, interesting stuff. But we do move on to this weekend's predictions. Match day 30. And there's 6 more games to get our teeth into. So, before we do, what is the colour of the week? The colour of the week is going to be black. And the theme of the week, I'm feeling a little bit of, oh, Tarzan. That's right, that's the theme of the week. Alright, now we've got the song of the week. Well, what's that going to be? Well, there's so many songs to choose from. But I'm thinking it's going to be a bit of Alicia Keys and Underdog. Ooh, singing the hustlers swimming. Okay, I don't actually know the words. That's a bit embarrassing. Yeah, well, just give it a listen, and it'll be a much better version than what I did. But anyway, let's move on to the meat of the video. You know, meat and veg, so to speak. Let's get into it, the juicy bit. Kilmarnock versus Dundee United to start off with. And Kilmarnock come into this off the back of a very annoying, from their point of view, loss to Aberdeen. You know, at times they had chances, just as many shots on target, despite the, you know, abundance of possession for the away side. And they have to be getting some results soon. Aberdeen was a tough one, but, you know, if you look at Kilmarnock right now, they're really sliding towards relegation. And joint on points with Hamilton. They have to find a moment of inspiration. And they face Dundee United this week. They did lose their game as well in the last match day. But before that, 2 wins on the bounce. So I think Dundee United can return to that kind of form, especially with Kilmarnock, who just seem to make their own problems at the minute. So I'll say Kilmarnock 0, Dundee United 3. Then it's St Mirren taking on Ross County. Now, St Mirren obviously getting the 0-0 draw last time out. Ross County with a massive win over Celtic. And that did, of course, have a very negative impact on Celtic. They basically got rid of their manager, Neil Lennon. He's left the club, and, you know, the gap is absolutely ridiculous. You kind of think Celtic, they did want the 10, and Rangers have gone about their ways so well. No defeats. It's been a problem for Celtic. So ultimately, before that loss, they were on an amazing run of form. But it's an amazing thing to see Ross County win that. So fair credit to them. They face St Mirren this week. And I've just got a feeling that they will be able to win again, Ross County. So St Mirren 1, Ross County 3. And then it's Hibernian against Motherwell. Now, Hibs come into this off the back of a 2-0 win over Hamilton. Fairly comfortable stuff. Against 10 men very early on. Martin Boyle getting the opener, and then Josh Doig making it 2. And they're going to be wanting to hunt down Celtic Hibernian to see if they can get into that top 2. Obviously, the title's over for Hibernian, 30-point gap. But ultimately, it would be nice for them to get that very nice second spot. It's only 10 points, or 12 points, sorry. I was looking at the other position, but it's only 12 points from them to Celtic. And ultimately, Hibernian have been a great team this season. They have got a game in hand on Celtic. But I am going to favour a Hibernian win. They are at home. Motherwell, they've been quite good this season also, but dropped off at the second half of the season. And they have been conceding too many goals. 46 is not going to get you into the top half, I don't think. So I'm going to say it will be Hibernian 2, Motherwell 0. Then it's Celtic versus Aberdeen. And Aberdeen obviously recently playing Celtic, and it was 1-0 in the reverse fixture. That was one of the games we looked at to see for our predictions. And I ultimately think this will be another tight game. This game is being played at Celtic, which is quite interesting. Obviously, I think they've had some COVID troubles, Aberdeen, so maybe that's why it's being played here. But anyway, it's being played on Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff, and I'm going to favour Celtic to do it again. Once again, win. Obviously, the manager leaving is not going to help, but they're still a good team, even if they have had a bit of a troubled season compared to their high standards. So I'll say a nervy win for Celtic, but a win nonetheless. Celtic 1, Aberdeen 0, just like the reverse fixture. All right, now it's Livingston up against Rangers, and Rangers come into this knowing that they really could, seal the title if it's not already sealed. I'm not sure the mathematics behind it. There's only 3 games of the season left. Maybe Rangers have confirmed it, but I'm not really that up to date with Scottish Premiership. So someone let me know in the comments. But ultimately, this is a very good chance of a win. Livingston have been down there most of the season. But to be fair, they've picked up at points in the season. They haven't been amazing, but ultimately haven't been terrible either. And they are sitting in 5th, just behind Aberdeen, with 8 points separating them. So they're going to want to win, and Livingston have also got a game in hand like Hibernian do. So it's a tough game in hand against Rangers, but I just feel that Rangers maybe just get a bit complacent here, and they will not win. They will draw. Livingston 1, Rangers 1. And finally, we have Hamilton against St Johnston. Well, this is an interesting one. It sees the team in 8th against the team desperately in need of a result in 12th. They've got 1 win in their last 5 games, and they've been absolutely conceding goals for fun this season. So Hamilton need a moment of magic. They need a lifeline. Will St Johnston give it to them? Well, St Johnston are a bit of an inconsistent team themselves, but they at least have goals for them going forward. And they haven't actually conceded too many, but ultimately haven't scored enough at all. Only 3 more goals scored than their opponents, this Hamilton, this weekend. So it's going to be a tight one. It's going to be a nervy one. Not much action, but I'm going to sway towards a Hamilton win. I think they're going to be hungry for it. They're going to want to get above Kilmarnock, and I think they're going to do just that with Kilmarnock dropping points against Dundee, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think I said a Dundee win. I can't remember now. But anyway, what matters now is we're saying Hamilton 1, St Johnston 0, and that wraps up my predictions for match day 30 of the Scottish Premiership. We're getting it all wrong today, but it is what it is. And I hope you have enjoyed. Smash a like on it. Make sure you subscribe, share with your friends. We can get to this magic 50 mark. I know we can. 46 now. We're so close. So be an absolute legend. Smash that subscribe button and like the video. And I shall see you in the next predictions video, or the next video we do. But thanks for watching this one. Have a good night, and I shall see you next time.